will get to know a little bit more as we engage with Manasa and Parvati over the next 40 minutes. If we could go to the next slide. And as everyone keeps coming in, would request you all to be on mute so that we can interact. And that's one of our norms as well. The first one is, of course, to keep videos on and interact as much as you can, right? I see some videos on Prashant, Tapish, Sainabad. Thank you all so much. Would like to see some more faces, so this is more engaging. Would request you to be on mute so it's easy to hear what the speakers are sharing. Uh, would encourage everyone to ask a lot of questions and would also request for you to keep it to the topic for today, which is from projects to program. We are going to be hearing a lot from Manasa and Parvati on what their project is about and how they have evolved it into a program post their fellowship journey. And in extension to the second norm, I would request all of you to raise your hands before unmuting so that we can give everyone a chance. You can make use of the raise hand feature or also post your questions on chat and we will get to it when we can. We can go to the next slide, Sunetra. This is our agenda for today. We will start with a very short overview of the Bhumi Fellowship, what exactly we do in the fellowship, and the impact that we've created over the last 3 years. We will begin with a quick check-in as per our culture, post which we will go into our interaction with Parvati and Manasa, followed by a Q&A, and we'll close out. So about the Bhumi Fellowship, many of you might have gone through the website also. Our vision is quite ambitious, but quite simple, I'd say. We would like to achieve equitable education for all children, and how we are doing it is through systemic change. This is through our fellows who are working in schools on a daily basis. They come in, they do their 2-year journey. That's in the short term. They work with the stakeholders to create change in the short term. And in the long term, we want our schools to become holistic centers where quality education is received by all of our children. We have 4 key domains that all of our fellows are working in. Classroom teaching is, of course, a part and parcel of a fellow's job, but the main aspects which makes the fellowship different from other fellowships is also working actively with the HMs, which is your school leaders, working to engage the community, that is your parents and anyone else in and around the school community, and working closely with our in-house socio-emotional learning team for the teacher professional development, which is helping the teachers get up to date with what's happening, helping them implement some new strategies, and also generally any other support that they might require. So Netra, we can go ahead. So like I said earlier, we always like to start with a check-in, and this is something I'd like for all of you to share on chat. Once again, I hope I'm audible. If you can drop me a thumbs up if yes. Parvati, Manasa,
Yes.
would also invite you to share. What is an experience that you have had that you thought you never would? So personally, for me, this was teaching probably. My mother is a teacher, and I thought, okay, I'm never going to teach in my life. But I did it for 2 years, and it was something I'll hold on to for the rest of my life. What is something that all of you, our audience as well, you can post on chat? Something that you have experienced that you never thought you would experience in your lives. Manasa, Parvati, over to you.
Uh, hi everyone. It's very nice to meet you all. I'll just share my thoughts on the check-in question. So I think for me it's facilitation, something I have always teaching. Yes, I was confident that I'll be able to do something I like to do also, but I was not very sure I'll be doing, facilitating things for adult spaces and all, which I see I'm doing a lot these days. So yeah, I'll say facilitation.
For me, I think very similar. Interacting with adults in the system. I'm very good with children, but interacting with adults was something that scared me. But um, I never thought I would experience it, but I have, and I'm still doing it. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I can see that we have one response where Vaishnavi has said that she's pursuing her MBA, something Vaishnavi thought she'd never do probably. Would love to hear from the others. One or two of you can come off mute and share as well. Would invite everyone else to share on chat. What's an experience you've had that you've never thought you would?
Ma'am, can we say ma'am?
Yes, please, Prashant, go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. This is Prashant Kushwaha, ma'am, and good evening, everyone. This is Prashant Kushwaha from Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh, and I had an experience actually. A few months ago, I was a student of FEA here in this organization FEA. It is an NGO basically. So I thought that I would never teach anyone. When recently I joined Unnati Foundation as a trainer, so I got that I can teach better than others in my area. So that was like that was my experience, which I never thought that it can be happen with me. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant.
Yeah.
I also see cooking as a response on chat from Lakshmi Prabha. Yeah, I can imagine. Not something I thought I would do either, but an essential life skill, I guess. Great to hear. Would invite everyone else to share on chat. We will move ahead in the interest of time. Uh, we heard from Manasa and Parvati regarding their experience, something they never thought they'd have, but would like to officially introduce them to all of you. Manasa, maybe we can start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? Why did you choose the fellowship?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Very good to see you all. I'm Manasa. I'm originally from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. And I did my bachelor's in business administration. During the course of my UG, I was also volunteering with an organization called Make a Difference, where I went to shelter homes. I was teaching children in shelter homes. Um, and I think I realized my passion for the developmental sector itself. And that is when I stumbled upon Bhumi. I did my internship with them. During the course of my internship is when I got to know more about the fellowship. Very interesting. What lured me in is probably the whole school approach, where I don't just get to work with children, but the stakeholders and adults around the children, like parents, HM, and teachers. So yeah, me and Parvati, we did a project in the second year of our fellowship, and now it is a part of the Bhumi team itself. Currently, I'm a socio-emotional learning senior associate who is also working with Parvati in the same boat. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Manasa. So I'll go ahead. So I am originally from Kerala, Kottayam district to be exact. So my education background, I did my graduation in physics, master's in criminology, and now working in education. So it's like three different, very distinct areas itself. So generally, I get a lot of questions. I mean, people generally ask me this very often: why criminology to education? But I think the reason I connected is during my 2 years of uh, post graduation, when I'm doing masters, something I am really interested was crime prevention. And a major philosophy that guided me throughout is one best solution to any crime problem is working on education. Quality holistic education is well needed for the society which we are seeing right now. So yes, that's when I started looking for fellowships and landed on Bhumi Fellowship. So what fascinated me here really is the whole school transformation. The thing, I think you already know what whole school transformation is. So when I got to know about that, I get an opportunity to work not just with children, but also with the other stakeholders and getting a real-time experience on the entire school ecosystem. I just jumped in, completed my 2 years, and right now here working with Manasa in the social and emotional learning team. Yep.
Thank you so much. Relatable, because both of you have come from very different fields and come to the fellowship. That's basically all we look for, also, just a strong intent to do something, work in education, and make meaningful change. Everything else you can learn during the fellowship itself. So, for context, Manasa and Parvati are from the 2021 cohort, which is our second cohort of fellows. I'm from the first cohort. We worked together for a while, and we've continued working together after they joined Bhumi as well. One thing that's different about the fellowship, apart from the whole school transformation approach itself, is that all fellows do a project in their second year called iCube. iCube projects are quite interesting because you get to come up with your own problem statement, design a project, and then actually implement it. Parati and Manasa worked on the wellness and safety curriculum and implementation. So this sounds like a pretty big thing, but can you tell us a little bit more about it and where did this idea come from for both of you?
Yeah, I'll go. So, like I mentioned, for me to do wellness and safety, the motivation came from my graduation, my educational background itself, because I'm coming a lot from crime prevention and uh, especially how can we provide a safe space for children so that they can grow up to be a healthy individuals in their adult life. So that was the thought behind, and when I got the opportunity to do a project, I didn't have to think twice. My idea was starting a sex education program where it is comprehensive. So it not just talk to children about safe touch, unsafe touch, but also go beyond and talk to them about relationship, gender, a lot of stereotypes and biases we see in our everyday life, help them to address it and challenge it. So that those were the thoughts behind. So we have frequent spaces to have these conversations with our co-fellows. So during one of those conversations, me and Manasa, we kind of figured out that we both have the same call. She was also working on something very similar. So we started working together, identifying problems and having a vision together and developing a project on the same. So we have piloted that for 1 year in both of our schools with teachers as well, where in Manasa school, it was the teacher who was facilitating. And then after a point, we figured out that there is a need for, integrating some of the social and emotional elements also into it. So by social and emotional elements, I mean mostly talking about our emotions and feelings, because sex education is not something which we as a community are not very familiar with. And we have a lot of, cultural biases and barriers in talking about all those things. So we thought like it's always better to start by talking about one's own feelings and emotions, and then we can move to our body and body related concepts. So that's when we thought we can integrate social emotional learning and sex education and make it a whole comprehensive package. There began our post fellowship journey. So we joined Bhumi in its social and emotional learning team and currently working on developing a curriculum for the same.
Thank you so much, Parvati. You also mentioned there is strong need for it, right? Because of our society and the kind of cultural thoughts and beliefs that we hold. Manasa, can you talk a little bit about why is this important for children to know?
Sure. Before that, I think I probably start off with an activity. I would like everyone to close your eyes and imagine whatever words that I'm saying, professions basically. So I see all of you have closed your eyes. Think of a pilot. Think of a conductor, bus conductor, auto driver, lawyer, and a construction worker. You can open your eyes. You can give me a hand raise or a thumbs up if you imagined all of these professions as men. I did the first time as well. Yeah. So where I'm coming from here is to just, it's a bias that we have, right, from a very, very, very young age, that some professions are associated with male gender and some professions are related with female gender. This is such a small example. While we were interacting with children to understand where they are at, we saw that this bias was so strong at the age of 7 and 8, which is very, very, very young. We saw that in classrooms, children were sitting separately in terms of boys in one row, girls in one row. Interacting with each other was a very difficult thing for them to do at a very small age itself. Not just this, a lot of children also spoke about emotions. Like Parvati mentioned, anger is very associated with men, crying is associated with female and girls, right? So all of these came about when we were having conversations with our children in the school. And I think the need for it grew for the both of us, because seeing that 6 to 7 year old children having such strong biases was very jarring for the both of us. So that's how it picked up. Gender is just one particular concept that we concentrate on. Even with regards to private parts, they didn't know what private parts were. They didn't know who to go and talk to if they felt very uncomfortable with something. And all of these seem like a very, very important knowledge component that children should know. And especially in this generation, right? When we are all moving out of our homes, living a very independent life, we thought understanding this at a very, very young age would cater to the needs of children when they grow up. So yeah, that's where the need became very strong for us.
Thank you, Manasa. I think that's food for thought, right? I'm aware of this. I have experienced this multiple times, but sometimes I still fall into that trap of gender roles, and I see it with people around me also. It's so culturally ingrained in us. What started as both of you noticing in your classrooms has now evolved to multiple teachers and fellows implementing it in their classrooms, right? You have a comprehensive curriculum that is is being delivered in classrooms across the fellowship, and that's extremely inspiring. Can you share some stories of change that you have heard or experienced, Parvati and then Manasa?
Yes, so I'll start by talking a little bit about how the implementation is happening right now. So currently we have a few fellows, 8 fellows taking it to their schools, and we have one teacher also involved. So currently we are in the beginning of the sessions just began, and a lot of stories which we are listening to is how children are able to reflect more openly, because initially when we talk to them about what they, even the smallest questions of what they like, their dislikes, what superpower they have, their strengths, it was very, very difficult for children to reflect on that. And a lot of times we listen to children saying, I can talk about the other person sitting next to me, but not me, because that's how we all are when we think about, self reflection, self love, all those things are like, for us, we blocked for some reason. So now, but we are listening, the children are able to reflect more deeply, think about themselves, talk about themselves, express their needs. So those are something which we are currently listening to. I would also like to share some of our highlights from last year as well, when we piloted in both of our classrooms. So we went to classroom during the COVID time. Our fellowship, as Anjali mentioned, it was 2021. It was COVID. Children and teachers, everybody, every stakeholder in the classroom is back to school after 2 years, or at least 1.5 years break. So it was very chaotic environment. Children were finding it very difficult to sit with, girls and boys have their difference, to sit with each other, and they won't be able to sit properly in one place, discipline, a lot of issues. But we started addressing each one by one through the curriculum itself. And towards the end, we were able to see how children themselves came out and they started, addressing gender issues in other classrooms. They went ahead and go to other classrooms and talk to children and teachers about how gender should be equal, how certain practices need to be changed in classroom. So such kind of changes we saw a lot, and that actually motivated us to take this forward as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Parvati. Manasa would also like you to share any challenges that you faced while also sharing any highlights that you have seen, and would also request everyone to be on mute so we can hear what Manasa and Parvati have to share.
Sure, I'll start with stories of change. Parvati spoke about children, so I'll talk about teachers who are implementing this in the classrooms. One particular teacher in our school, so usually we go behind teachers, we ask them, can you please, implement this? Can you start facilitating these sessions in classrooms? I think after a few months of delivery, couple of teachers in my school, they got very interested in how children were responding to the curriculum, and they started taking it on their own. Now if I go back to my school, I can see teachers are talking very freely about private parts to their children. Both boys and girls sit together in the classroom without any push from our end, because teachers understood the need for it. And yeah, I think teachers also started giving feedback to each other in terms of how they are facilitating sessions in the classroom. And it was very refreshing for us to see that there was very positive, that positive feedback culture was being developed in teachers with regards to how they were teaching these lessons. Yeah, and I'll move to challenges. Challenges majorly where initially the taboo itself, sorry, a lot of HMs were very hesitant to take this program in because sex education is a taboo in our society, and we found it very difficult to pitch this program itself to them. Um, we heard things like, okay, you can do it for boys separately and girls separately, or this might not be age appropriate. They will not understand this at 7 years old. Um, very true, but me and Parvati, we specifically designed this for the age group that we were working in. And with a lot of persuasion, with the help of our team, with the help of fellows that are working currently, we were able to pitch these programs. And now it is running in 8 classrooms across Chennai. Yeah, these were some challenges. Maybe Parvati can add on if there was more.
Yeah. In the interest of time, we will move on. One thing also stands out to me is teaching versus facilitating. You said facilitating sessions. Government school teachers have a lot of experience. They know a lot more than any of us coming into the school system. But what I'm also picking up is through this entire process, one thing is, of course, the taboo itself, they are able to overcome that and engage with the content. Second thing is, instead of like the typical textbook kind of teaching, which a lot of us would have experienced, they are able to make it more interactive and make the children also participate in it. Like us going as fellows and doing it is one thing, but to have teachers doing it is quite incredible, right? Now, Parvati, this seems like a huge deal, right? Like to plan, design, implement a curriculum, something that has not been done for primary school children. So, how did the fellowship equip and support you to be able to do all of this? You can think about post fellowship also in terms of how the program has evolved.
Yes, thanks for the question, Anjali. So, I think all I had initially was just this idea of this is what I want to do. I had zero idea of how I'm going to do. It's actually a lot of touch points with the team, with our managers that helped us do this. Because I think two things need to be considered. One is the entire procedure of designing a project is difficult. At the same time, we are working in school, we are teaching in classroom, we are working with other teachers, doing all these things. So I think one thing that really helped us is having checkpoints with team. We had weekly check-ins and like monthly check-ins, review meetings, everything, which gave us enough space to seek help. And whenever we seek help, support was there. So to mention specific skills, I can say visioning, articulation, all those things I was able to develop only through those conversations. Also, identifying a problem, developing a curriculum. There were a lot of specific skills which I was able to develop through the 2 years journey during fellowship, and which I can see how it is, taking shape when I'm uh, full time working into that project and developing that project into a program right now. I can see how fellowship has actually helped. Yeah.
I can imagine, right? Relatable for me even now. What also strikes me is there's so many different aspects to it. You have to continue your teaching English and math on a daily basis. Then there's, of course, so many other things we do, fundraising, engaging our HMs on a weekly and monthly basis, identifying infrastructure needs. How did you balance all of your different roles and responsibilities? Manasa, if you would like to share.
Sure. Like Parvati mentioned, I think there was a lot of support in the program itself. Parvati was one of my strongest support systems. I found a lot of friends during the fellowship. My managers were, if I want to cry over something, they'll be there. So I think people were extremely important during the journey. It has its ups and downs, and I think the people around me helped me do that. And specifically, one skill that helped me was planning. planning is something that's encouraged as a practice in the fellowship, and that's a skill that I built, and that helps me even today. The program that we built during the fellowship is helping us plan a little faster and quicker right now, because we know what we did wrong there, and now we have the skill to develop it. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I think we strongly believe that uh, planning, yes, of course, but all of our fellows who come in are already leaders, and these are some attributes, of course, that will help all of us in our journeys ahead, right? And personally, very excited to see how this is translating and what the impact of this is going to look like in the next 1 year or even 5 or 10 years. There's a very interesting question on chat, which we can take. Organically, we will move into the question and answer space now. Ananya AP has asked how you both communicated these sensitive things with the children in a language which is comprehensive to a child. Any one of you can take this up. Thought this was quite nice.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of biases in our thinking also for adults. I have that when I went to classroom. I was thinking about a lot of things. If the child will understand this, if I say this, and during I think when I completed the first year of my fellowship, something I really really understood is their brain is far better than our brains. They will catch it up because they if a child knows. So all these stereotypes and biases which we mentioned right now, they themselves picked it up. It's not that someone just went them and told them all these things. They picked it up. If they are picking it up, if they have that, that intellect to pick it up and just understand that it is right and live their life with that mindset and stereotype, definitely it helps if we can just go and ask them. And a lot of times it is not about us teaching them about something very complex things, so telling them about complex things. It takes very less effort from our end also, just to sit with them and check, hey, what is this, what have you just done, can you tell me why you did this, is there any reason, or do you think is there any other way we can do this? It's always some questions from our end that helps in building up conversations than showing pictures and graphs and telling children this is that, this is it. And yes, how we developed it is also we have a lot of activities for children to do. And right now we are gamifying it because in the context in the children we are working with also, not everyone have the same intellect. Reading something or writing something is not, everybody might not be able to do that. So we are gamifying the content, like positive affirmations, internet safety, a lot of things, whatever can be gamified, we are making it into a game so that everybody can be engaged. Even a child with special needs will be able to engage and understand a lot of concepts. So that's how we are engaging with it. But to answer the question, children will understand as long as we are there to listen to them. They will catch everything that we are saying.
Thank you, Parvati. I see a question from Epatula here. How you develop the children's education? How you develop the children's education through Bhumi Fellowship? Manas, would like to request everyone to please mute yourself. Manasa, would you like to respond how exactly we work with children?
Sure. So we teach English and math primarily in classrooms, but apart from that, we also work with the socio-emotional development of children, which is for them to understand themselves, build skills, life skills basically. And we also have need-based programs that fellows develop on their own. One example that I can probably think of is we saw a lot of anger issues in classrooms. They didn't know how to manage their emotions. So then we created systems where we can help children with dealing with their emotions and managing their emotions, right? For me personally, education is not just maths or English or Tamil or science. It is more holistic in terms of understanding what skills they have to build so that when they become adults, they are able to be more confident in what they are doing. So a lot of reflections, a lot of conversations were built. Children speak a lot about what they want to do in the future. How would they like to communicate with other people? These skills were are my major focus during the fellowship as well. So that's a broad overview of how we work. Apart from that, we also work with teachers, right, to build their capacity, how they teach, how they interact with children, how HM interacts with teachers, because there is always this gap. And teachers, when they come with a very frustrated mindset, that's going to translate in the classroom. So we focused on all stakeholders around the children, and that's how we ensured education is going better in the classrooms.
Yeah. And it's also been a strong learning for us in terms of working with corporation school and government schools and how much a teacher actually has to do, right? We have a new curriculum that's in place now, and teachers have found it difficult to adapt. We also need to recognize that these are people in their 50s, quite older compared to us, and they are still adapting and learning and also implementing so many things. We have elections coming up, and all of our teachers are going to be busy with election duty, something none of us have to worry about, right? So we are also trying to see how we can create spaces for teachers to feel heard, acknowledged, and connect with each other, going beyond just seeing them as just somebody who's teaching children and appreciating them just as people. We've got a lot of questions on chat. Thank you all for engaging so actively. Would ask you to continue sharing your messages on chat. We will respond to them either on voice or on chat itself. Sunetra, requesting your support here. I see Vaishnavi's question. Yes, Vaishnavi, the fellowship is primarily in Chennai, but amazing news, we have expanded to 2 new cities. We will be launching our program in Coimbatore and Trichy from next year. Still in Tamil Nadu though, so if you are from Delhi or anywhere else that is not Chennai or Trichy or Coimbatore, you will have to move here for a 2-year period of time. And we hope that you will come to love the city like us and stay back post fellowship as well. Karthik has a question. Parvati, maybe you'd like to take this. What type of skills does somebody need to develop? I don't know if there's a better or a worse fellow, Karthik. We're all doing great in whatever capacity we can. But what kind of skills would a Bhumi fellow need?
Yes, since I'm also working with social and emotional team, I'll start with that aspect of it first. I think a lot of reflections, self-awareness, managing self is needed because you'll be working in different, working with different aspects at the same time. So managing self, regulating self would be needed and necessary, I would say. Apart from that, like I think Anjali already mentioned, this is going to be a leadership journey for all of us. So a lot of leadership skills, you must be walking in with a lot of leadership skills, which we will be, which the team will be helping us to flourish and build upon. To say a few examples: planning, designing, creativity. So and I don't think we can't say that you must walk in with certain skills. Whatever skills you have, there will be a space for you to explore that. That's how I experienced it. So I was good in certain things, which I was able to see how I can leverage those skills into the classroom or in the project which I'm working with. So I think it works the reverse way. Walk in with your skill, have that confidence in yourself, and we'll work together to build upon that. That's it.
Yes, definitely. Manasa, anything to add here?
I think that's it. I think she covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing from me would be to just come in and walk in with a growth mindset. I think if you have that mindset, everything else is doable, and we're all still learning, right? We see everyone as a learner, everyone as an expert. It's one of our favorite things to say in the social emotional learning team and the program team in general. So yes, just come in with a will to learn. Ashwati is asking about challenges and hindrances that you had faced during the fellowship. Manasa, would you like to take that?
Sure. I think working with children was much easier for me. Working with adults in the system was much difficult because our education system is built that way. We've been taught to do rote learning methods for a very long time. When me and Parvati started our fellowship journey, there was a shift in how the curriculum was being presented. There was a scheme called Ennum Eluthum, which was basically trying to bridge the learning gap during COVID. So it was a very different kind of an approach. It was very activity based, and teachers found it very difficult to take it forward. So trying to break that rote learning method was definitely a challenge. It's probably still a challenge because we've been taught that way for so many years now. Apart from that, I think other challenges where maybe I'm speaking it for other fellows, it could also be language, but it's not a barrier, right? If you don't know the language, doesn't mean you can't teach in a classroom. Children are amazing that way. You teach in Hindi, they'll somehow find a way to learn a little bit of Hindi with you, and in the process, you'll also learn Tamil. So that is one. Few other challenges, I think, with regards to the project that we developed, we've already covered that. We had a lot of, we'll have a lot of resistance because the system is built that way. But for me, one of my biggest learning is to keep pushing for it, not give up. A lot of no's, a lot of maybes will always come your way. But if you have the will to do something, I think it translates somehow. Yeah, these are some small challenges during the fellowship.
Thank you, Manasa. I see Prashant has a question. Prashant, would you like to unmute and ask?
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask one question that as Mansha ma'am said that language is not a shoe. So I want actually there was a question and it hits my mind that I know Hindi language and English language. And what about them? For their native place, maybe it might be possible that they are not aware from Hindi language. Then how I can teach, ma'am?
Right. Here, maybe I can share.
Yeah.
Quite a few of our fellows this year are from West Bengal. We have somebody from Rajasthan. A lot of people from Kerala coming in, and many of them do not speak Tamil. But one of the fellows, actually, all of them, but one specific story I would like to share. Her name is Swagata. Her children have recently started speaking in English. Swagata does not speak any Tamil at all, and she has consciously not learned also. She sometimes asks the children to translate the things she's saying in English. So, for example, very simple, what are you eating for lunch today? And the children will say things. And then Swagata will ask them to say it in English and then repeat it again in Tamil. Also, very challenging for her for 3-4 months because, of course, there were a lot of gaps in communication. They weren't able to understand what she's saying. But just yesterday, children are teaching their other teachers that, hey, this is what I ate for lunch. And they are saying it in English while the other teachers are listening to the children, right? Where you might find it challenging is while interacting with the HM and the teachers. But for the most part, everyone is very warm and welcoming. And many of them even want to improve their own communication but don't know where to start. So it could be a great opportunity for you to offer your English skills and take their Tamil skills in exchange. That's how I see it. And beyond that, the team will be happy to support you with anything you need. We will take one more question and we will close out for the day. A lot of questions on chat. Thank you for responding, Sunetra. So Vaishnavi has another question. As a fellowship teacher, was it difficult to establish a good relationship or coordination with the regular teachers of the school? One small change here, Vaishnavi, maybe is we see ourselves as fellows. Teaching is one of the things we do, of course. Fellowship teacher is a tricky space because then that question comes in, am I a fellow, am I a teacher? It's just a fellow who also happens to teach, right? Parvati, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, I'll go with that. I think we have covered some of the challenges while answering the other questions also. I won't say it's difficult, but there will be a lot of challenges because like Manasa has mentioned, we are walking into a system which is built like this for like decades. It's been like this and we are trying to change that. So there will be a lot of resistance and break. And also we are people coming from outside. They are someone who has been with the system for a longer time. So going to them and just readily saying, "Ma'am, what you're doing is wrong." We should not say that, because they have their own way to do things. So I think everything starts with the understanding that at the end of the day, all of us want, all of what we all seek is the betterment of children. For the teachers also, it's the same. They want their children to achieve great heights in life, but the how is only different. For a teacher, it might be different ways which they feel like will help the child to grow, but for us, it might be something different. So I think understanding that they are not wrong, understanding that our relationship is going to be a give and take. There'll be a lot of things which I will be learning from a teacher who's been teaching in a classroom for like 50 years, 60 years of her life. There'll be a lot of things which I will be taking them from them, and there'll be some things which I'll be offering them. If we have that give and take mindset, I think we will be able to build a smooth relationship slowly. That's my learning. Yes.
I just muted myself. Apologies. Thank you for sharing, Parvati and Manasa. We've had some great questions. I think this has personally energized me a lot, and I'm very excited to see all of you come on board, right? We don't have a cap on how many people can join us. So looking forward to all of you complete your applications and make it through as fellows if you haven't already done so. We will close out for the day here. As Sunetra has mentioned on chat, this is a 2-year full-time program where there will be a lot of learning, as we have heard over the last 45 minutes or so. Sunetra will be posting the link on chat for all of you to apply. So we request you to complete your applications and reach out to us if you have any questions or clarifications. If you still have, you can also come volunteer with us. We are a volunteer based organization. That's how we started. So happy to have you come volunteer with us. You can apply on the Bhumi website or reach out to any of us if you're specifically interested in any opportunities. Yes, Sunetra, waiting for you to post the link. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so the link is on chat. You can also look at our website. Thank you all for joining today. We will be doing another webinar next week. Hope to have all of you join us then as well. Thank you. Have a great day. We will stay on call for 2 minutes more to respond to some questions coming in on chat. In the meantime, feel free to drop off. Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye
Thank you so
bye.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, if we have one question, if we have few questions, so where we can ask, ma'am?
The email ID is on chat. I will post it one more time. It is
Yes, ma'am, please.
fellowship@bhumi.ngo. You can reach out to us on this website.
I'm
This
waiting
email
to-
ID and the website.
Sure, ma'am. All right, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.